It is a hideous EICR day. Been a while, but we're okay. It's my friend's house. They bought a new place, they've moved out, so they're going to rent it out. So I'm here to do an EICR to double check a few things. First things on the list, obviously not first, but we've got an array of stuff which we'll run through in a minute, is I like to drop a few sockets and switches off, I've dropped a few light fittings, and we've already found a few things that I don't like, so we're going to just run through that with you guys now. Uno one on the list is, I haven't done this. Awesome, so we're going to look at that. I've dropped this one off because we had no idea what this ISO does. Absolutely nothing. I presume it was for a socket back in the day for under here for a washing machine and tumble dryer, but it like took the back off. It's just an in and out off the incoming side. Light switch, dropped a few off. The earth is just floating around. I have said, because it's a friend's house as well, obviously what I would normally do if this was not a friend of mine, I would turn around and go, these are the things that are wrong. I can fix them now for you and give you a little quote. So we will pass the EICR, give it a satisfactory EICR to allow it to be rented out, or we give it an unsatisfactory, I quote up afterwards and we do that. But being a friend of mine, and I do it with friends and family, I'll go around and just fix a few things like this now. So it will just pass straight through. Satisfactory straight through. People get really weird about that. Oh, you can't, it's not a pass, it's not a periodic. All right. Drops a few light fittings. It's a class 2 fitting, so 100% it doesn't need an earth because it's a class 2 fitting. That's the purpose of them. But at the same time, I've got up there connector blocks in the void. So they're going to be pulled down. We're going to terminate them properly, get that all sorted sweet without cracking big holes in the new painted ceiling. Next thing on the list, this has all just been decorated and the switch was not sitting nicely, so I took it off, and as I pulled it, the whole back box actually isn't screwed into the wall and it started to pull the paper and plaster off. So I'm just getting the SDS, as you can see here, it's literally not fixed with one screw. He's had the smart switches and I don't know what, I honestly couldn't tell you what this is for. If you know why this is like this, please let me know. But we took a few surrounds off, which I'll show you in a sec. So my mate had the surrounds fitted everywhere with the Philips Hue stuff. So obviously you leave these on, so it's a permanent feed at the light fittings. And these are Philips Hue bulbs. They would just operate, dim it down, all the stuff from that. I know that these lights here are absolutely fine because myself and Adam did these about 3 years ago. So we know that's all hunky-dory, happy with that. Don't need to take any of them down. Garage-wise, we're looking pretty sweet. We have got a hanging socket here, but once again, that's just off an extension, so that can be unplugged, so it's not classed as the fixed wiring of the installation, so it does not need to be tested. If I saw a big chunk of copper hanging out of it, I think all I'd do is advise the customer, or I've done it before, I'll cut the plug off so it can't be used. Very much like a pat test as such. These are metal, that's metal, make sure we're dropping it round. We're going to be doing our trailing lead across to the water and to the gas. The gas is just here, the water is under the sink, so we'll double check that as well. Show you that with the fly lead. We're going to IR everything, R1, R2, ZS's, get everything we can, fix as much stuff as we can. So come along for the journey, let's have a look at my new bag. If you haven't watched one of the weekly videos from a few weeks ago, we're back. We're back with the Mega. I'm giving it a second chance. So I'll kit it out. This is the final product of the NB50, which you can see here. So we loaded all that back out with Mega stuff. As we're finished, we can torque everything back up. Just got my homemade key. Just do a little visual on this. Mains ISO, tails going up, 16mm on the main earth, 25mm on the tails. The polarity looks correct, happy days. Yep, that's an old system, so that's not working anymore. And the gas. Got a 10mm tagged up. That is missing, but I can always screw that back on. People would actually fade it for that, which is bizarre for me. There's a lovely 10mm in here with a lug, and it's also cross bonded as well. All right. Adam's mum likes these. Ah! It's a bit that long. I need to do the time and date on it. Right, I'm going to be completely open and transparent with you guys. I think that's the best way to be in the way I've always been. Trying to get that to test properly, I had the same fault that I've had, this is why I fell out with using the X1 back in the day, was hazardous live. It's not hazardous live. whatsoever. The earth was pulled out of the terminal, the fuse board was turned off, it's a TNCS system, it's not hazardous. I could grab it, which I did, there's nothing on it, and it wouldn't allow me to test it. So what I ended up doing, I tried to do a 3-lead one, but it doesn't allow you to do the ZE on what it is. So 2-lead, put it on, and what I ended up doing is going in the setting what people told me to do ages ago. There's a setting within this that you could turn off, which allows you to still test if there's a fault with the earth at some point. I don't really actually know, so I've turned it off, but it still flashed up with the symbol saying there's live on the earth when there isn't, and I still got the reading 0.33 on TNCS system. So put that all back in. We've got our PFC at 0.69, but Jesus Christ, I presume that there's been an update and it's been fixed. Like I say, the last firmware update I did of this was way over 6 months ago. But if you have any issues or you got any information on this, please let me know, because I want the tester to work. I really do. I like it. I like the functionality. I like the screen. I like the buttons. I like all of it, except for that thing. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I'm using EasyCert on the iPad, filling out as we go along. Just put the readings in. Next, I've turned the lights back on so I can just see and film this bit. I'm gonna do an eye on the circuits, but with all the downlights, everything, I'm just gonna link through live and neutral and stick 500 volts through that, so obviously we're not blowing anything up. Before I get ahead of myself, I'm just gonna do the gas and water. All we do, to anyone new, is this is your fly lead, a wander lead you wanna call it. This is a 50-meter one. You plug that in, just gonna null the leads. I've already set the date. Oh. Right, that's on. Leads are now nulled. You turn the buzzer on. That is really good. So if you've got this into the fuse board and clipped onto the fuse board, and you walk around with this with a probe on, and you want to go and test R2s at light fittings and sockets and switches, you can just touch the pins on each of the light fittings going around. You can turn around and just touch it on. If you hear it buzz, great. You go back, check the value, or the same. Obviously, it's 2 people, it's much easier. But equally, if you don't hear it buzz, you can do further investigation of why that is not connected. So what we're going to do now with this. So you can either connect it on there to double check that it is connected, if not, take it out individually. So we'll just do it out individually just so I can label up which one's which. And then the resistance we're looking for, which is just purely the cable from that end to this end, I think it's less than 0.05. So we know that's working over there. I'll leave this on. I'll just double check the figure. That's very annoying. Shut up. Water? Right, I just thought I'd show you through what I mean about with the wander lead for the R2 stuff. So we just link that all onto the earth bar itself. I've got the lead. So we go across, literally to here. So I just want to run through this with everyone. I've just done the R1, R2 with link lead from the socket outlet. I'm only going to go from the socket outlet because I changed this oven a couple of years ago. There's a socket low level which has a plug top for the oven and a plug top for the ignition for the hob. In that, I'm not going to take this out because I know the connections are sound that because I did them. This come pre-wired flex and so has this. I put plugs on them, stuck them in the socket. I will write on the test report that I'm testing from the socket outlet. So that's that. But this one here is 0.07 and it's linked through individually on this. And you get a lot of people that say, because a lot of people test, obviously that's in the live, you would put this back in and they don't remove it from the earth bar. And they say, oh, you can't test from the earth bar because you take into all the other paths to earth from all the other circuits. But we were on 0.07 a second ago. That's now linked up. And now we're on 0.07 again. So it really doesn't matter between the two. Now, I'm onto the lighting, the fun bit. Let's try and pull all the cables out of the ceiling. Look, pulling the ceiling down. Can anyone take a guess what this is? Pause it now and just everyone tell me what this is. Right, I'm going to strip all that, get that done and do the same one over there. re-terminate it. Yes, apart from the EICR, you don't have to do this. Obviously, you can just write it down, but I'm going to do it. Right, so I've done my best. That's on. We've got some filler, and now it's just to do this one here. It should be a bit easier without the ceiling falling down. There's one thing I want to talk about before we go any further with this, is the difference between people doing EICRs, especially in the domestic sector, where I could do something here, let's say it's an old rewirable fuse board. To my knowledge and to my expertise, should we say, I can test this place to the original regs that it was installed. That's how I perceive the regulations to do with the EICRs. If you read Code Breakers by NAPIT, it would give you the sort of codings that you can look at. This isn't set in stone, this isn't what you should do, it's just a guideline to what other people would say in the industry. As long as I tested it and I could see that the installation hasn't been touched or changed whatsoever since the original install, but there's potential, let's say, that someone uses a lawnmower or any equipment that they plug inside the house and they use it out, then we would have to code that, and then you would probably go, yeah, actually, it needs an RCD, so this is an unsatisfactory installation. But let's say it's a 1-bedroom flat upstairs, and you know full well they're not going to run a mower lead out the window. Is there an issue with it? Not really. If everything tests fine, if you had the old board in. I've done it before with a rewirable one. With a rewirable board, I've given it a satisfactory because there was nothing changed from the original install. Other people would look at that straight away and go, no RCD, unsatisfactory, board change. It all depends on the electrician you have in. It's all up to them, the way they perceive the regs and the way that they can move forward. Because obviously if we test this, it's attached to my name. I need to make sure it's safe. Ideally, every fuse board that you can see that doesn't have an RCD, I'd like to say, I'm going to chuck you a new board in. But the people I do stuff for, especially around here with the older generation who don't have a lot of money, it's an old board, they've never touched the house, it's the original decor from when they moved in, they don't have a spare £1,000 to chuck at a fuse board. That's the sort of where I'm going with it. So my old boss Tim used to say to me, if you walk away from a job that you do and it's safer than when you got there, it's an improvement and you've done the right thing. But it's just different ways, because there's so many people that I've realised and come across that have had new boards fitted when they had a 16th edition board. And you just like, or sorry, no, it's plastic, it has to be metal, chuck your new board in. And people are just believing electricians, but it's different, it is different depending on the electrician you have, the way they perceive the regs. So not everyone's right, not everyone's wrong. It's just a grey area of the regs, what we interpret it as. Let me know if you're the same as me, or you call me out for it, it's fine. Right, I've done everything I need to do. I'm just going to go around and fix the stuff that I can fix. So we've got a crimp. This is the way that we've done it before in the past. We've got our earths. Put that on. We've got a little self tapper, as you can see there. It's a hollow wall. It's literally this thin. So, and the thread should be a little bit bigger than the hole that's in it. And now we've got continuity between the back box, the lugs. I'll go through to the pins. So, same thing here. I was about to SDS this wall. I really was. I've got the SDS over there. And this wall's even thinner than the other one. This couldn't screw it back, but there's just no pins in it. By the looks of it, it's just been decorated. The paint has pulled it off for the first time ever. Thank you very much, but I've just realised don't touch the walls. Right, now comes the fun bit, because I've just realised that this is a fast fix box, so the wing might have been broken. If the wing's broken, it's an old box. There's no way I'm getting it out because it's been tiled round. So, oh no, the wing's still there. It's just missing a screw this entire time. Right, bear with me, guys. People might say it wasn't needed, but I'd rather that's so if some kid comes in here, little toddler comes in here and starts swinging off the cable, it's gripped to the wall as well as into the board. It's all been glanded properly, and it's got a little earth banjo on. So I pretty much fixed everything so far. The last thing that I have put down as a C3. So you do have an extractor, you've got lights, they're LEDs, but they're not IP rated. They are tiltable as well, but for the height is out of zones now. This is above 2.25 meters, I think it is. for the ceiling height, so it is out of regs, so you could have these, but I'm putting them down to C3 because they're not fit for purpose. They're rusting, they're not very nice, so I'll have a chat with my mate, and whether or not this goes on the report, it's already on the report, but at the final report, I'm just going to ring him in a minute. He might just say, mate, just change them over, put some nice LED ones in, and then we're done and dusted. But yeah, hunky dory. Jump in the van and I'll give you a shout of how much I've charged. Right, I'm done. Just nearly 1 o'clock, if you can see there. So I'm going to ring up a minute about the lights. Easy fix, easy changeover. Pricing for this is what I normally work off is £60 a fuse board, which obviously there's one. And then there's 7 circuits at £25 each. So all in all, I think that's 235. I did check this before, I just said to you guys, yeah, 235. So that isn't bad for essentially what is about 5 hours worth of work. You're obviously not hot, you're not messy. I've had the ladders out, we checked in the loft. I've been in the loft before anyway. I've done a short in the loft before, redoing the loft, the landing light, and when we did the extractor fan. So we have done bits in here, but obviously it's time for them to have a proper EICR done by the estate agents, so it could be leased out. Apparently the installation certificate isn't a good enough thing. Estate agents only recognise an EICR. Work that out. So yeah, anyway, love you, bye. Also I hate EICRs. Don't ask me to do any again.